You're listening to KEXP at 90.3 FM in Seattle, streaming around the world at kexp.org. I'm Cheryl Waters down in the KEXP studio. We're streaming live video at KEXP's Facebook page. We have Hibou live today. Welcome.
Hi.
It is always so great to see you and love that you have some new music. You've got a brand new album called Something Familiar. Came out Friday on Barsuk Records, and you have a CD release show tomorrow night. Thank you for coming to share new songs with us today. It's Hibou live on KEXP.
Thank you.
It first, cues rehearsed, while all the fantasies will break to get in line. If I could think steadily, then I could tell myself at least look happier. Don't leave me out easy. Melodies, songs feel like never before. Darling, I was supposed to trust you. Show me that it's different this time. Overgrow, swallow me whole. I get no say in what it makes of me today. If I could think steadily, then I could tell myself at least I'm here with you. Don't leave me out easy. Melodies, songs feel like never before. Darling, I was supposed to trust you. Show me that it's different this time.
Hibou live on KEXP, songs from the new album Something Familiar. We're streaming live video on KEXP's Facebook page.
something clean would keep you pleased. But here you are, shaking at the way you're breathing. You're a fiction. And all you wanted was something bound to
Live in the KEXP studios with Hibou. Those songs sound so magnificent live.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for bringing them in today. I have, we all have at KEXP been such longtime fans of your music, and hearing these songs live just sounds so wonderful. And I remember talking with you in the past, and the way at least you made your previous album, which you made pretty much in a bedroom closet, you talked about when you perform the songs live, it's like a whole new experience because you can't necessarily, or in the past, you couldn't necessarily represent the same thing that you did in the studio in the live setting. But I know that you recorded this record in a studio this time. So how has that changed how you're playing them live?
Yeah, well, I think because we toured for quite a long time off of the first record, and I think during that time I just kind of learned to play more with musicians and realized kind of what other people brought to the table, whether it was my immediate liking or not. Because I think I have a tendency to kind of just be like, no, it has to go this certain way. And I think I kind of learned over the past couple years to let other people's influences start to find their way into the music I was creating and appreciate it, even if it wasn't what I would initially have done.
Tell me a little bit about how the process was different making this record as compared to the first record.
Yeah, it was very different. The first record I recorded, like you said, in a walk-in closet, and I didn't really know I was making a record at the time. I was making songs, and I would leave them, come back to them. I was very spaced out. So for this record, I had written all these songs, and we went into the studio, and we had a couple days to record them, which was something I had never really done before. Just had an allotted amount of time to record, X amount of hours of music. And it had its trials and tribulations, but I'm really happy with how it came out.
It came out magnificently. It's so beautiful. And this album is called Something Familiar, and I definitely recognize it as an Hibou record. There is something familiar. But do you feel like you're exploring new territory here?
Yeah, I definitely do. I mean, recording in a studio for one, but also just from a songwriting perspective, it was, I spent a lot more time focused on the lyrics and just kind of felt like I challenged myself a lot more than just writing happy pop songs.
You have said in interviews that these songs have more honesty behind them than anything that you've ever written, and that you have allowed yourself to be your truest self on this record. What did you mean by that?
Well, yeah, the album talks a lot about kind of my anxiety and my depersonalization and that sort of stuff, which was really hard to write about and sing about because often, you start concentrating more on that kind of thing and it starts surfacing more and more. And I think I was suppressing a lot of that for a long time. So it was challenging to make this record, and yeah, it was pretty hard, but I think the songs ended up coming out a lot more, raw and real.
I had never heard of depersonalization until I read an interview where you talked about it. It sounds very scary, and I know that some artists talk about suffering from anxiety and depression and turning to their work, and that helps them get through it. And you had actually said that was a little hard. You hoped maybe that would be the outcome, and that it was actually hard to kind of focus on it. So what role did focusing on it and channeling that through your writing have for you?
I think that that the lyrics that I did come up with ended up being a lot more real, and when I'm performing them, it does feel a lot more like I'm actually singing about something I really care about. But at the same time, it didn't really help to cope with any of those anxieties. Just thinking about them and thinking about how I wanted to describe them and that sort of thing. I think I thought it might, but it ended up just kind of being all I could think about, and I couldn't get it off my mind.
How about now performing them?
Well, I mean, we really haven't done a whole lot of performing of them. We're about to go on this tour, so I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Speaking of which, you have a CD release show tomorrow night at Neumos, and you've done a lot of touring. You're still quite young, but you have so much experience behind you. I mean, when you were in high school, you were touring with Crass Bells as a drummer and started as Hibou quite young, so you've clearly got a lot of experience behind you, and I imagine have learned a lot. You've talked a little bit about that in making this record. Do you like being out on the road and touring?
I think I used to a lot. When the circumstances are right, it's awesome. I love the performing aspect of it. I love being on stage every night. It's just the rest of it that becomes more and more difficult, kind of as you lose energy. Well,
when you were in high school, I bet it was fun to show up in a new city every night and play a
definitely.
show.
Yeah, when I was 17, I could very easily do it. It's a little trickier now.
Well, I hope you find ways to take care of yourself on tour, because many people need to hear this great new album. It's called Something Familiar, Hibou, with a new record out last Friday on Barsuk Records. And you're going to actually play something from your 2015 album now.
Yeah, this is a song called Above Us.
Tell you that you're right.
Sounds so great. Hibou live on KEXP. That is Hibou with Junipero Love on KEXP from the new album Something Familiar. And that song is on my Current Music That Matters podcast at KEXP.org. Thank you so much for letting us share that.
Thank you.
Thank you for playing these songs today. You all sound fantastic. They are playing a CD release show tomorrow night at Neumos next Saturday, March 17th. They'll be at the Bunk Bar in Portland and sounds like maybe coming to your city soon. Enjoy the tour. Thank you again so much. I love hearing these songs today.
Thank you very much.
The new record from Hibou called Something Familiar out on Barsuk Records. And you've got a tune to KEXP Seattle. Discover new music at listener-powered KEXP.org.